a man who had performance-enhancing drugs in his system. Whether, I believe everybody should have the right to protest their innocence. Unfortunately, in this situation, it's guilty until proven innocent. I've been there, right? But one thing we 100% know in this situation.
You got caught taking drugs, here's your charge. It's like fucking murder. If you fucking murder somebody.
Eddie said to me yesterday at 60-40, so we don't know. I don't know if that is the case and he's failed a sample for cocaine. That's really surprising, massively surprising.
Absolutely shocking news just dropped. The results are in and Jermaine Franklin has failed his drug test mere hours before the fight. Fans and officials are stunned. The timing is unbelievable and dangerous. This puts the fight and his reputation in serious jeopardy and leaves everyone questioning what happens next.
Morning, man. To make the way how he's done it, you know, on the morning of a fight, it's just wrong. It's dangerous, and the board are now in a situation where they think shit. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
At the moment, the British Boxing Board of Control aren't. So we have to speak with them, deal with the legal situation and see where it lands. And this is quite fresh. Obviously, I don't even think it's 30 minutes. I think it's more like 10 or 15 minutes since that. And, you know, we'll see what...
Adam Catterall is calling out Jermaine Franklin directly. Failing a drug test right before a fight is shocking and disappointing. It puts his reputation on the line and casts a shadow over his performance. Fans and experts are questioning how he will recover from this controversy and what it means for his upcoming bout.
Incredibly shocking. When any fighter fails a performance-enhancing drug test, it is incredibly shocking and disappointing.
Duke McKenzie is stunned by Jermaine Franklin failing both A and B samples. This leaves no room for excuses and raises serious questions about his integrity. Experts are alarmed and fans are outraged as it completely undermines the credibility of Franklin going into the fight.
This is the point. How can he give a sample and then a B sample and they both come back positive for a banned substance? It doesn't make any sense.
Anthony Joshua expresses clear disappointment at Jermaine Franklin failing the drug test. He highlights how shocking and unacceptable it is for a fighter to enter the ring under such circumstances. Fans are left questioning Franklin's professionalism and the impact this could have on his career and reputation.
He's been test positive, yeah.
It's happened, man. It happens in this sport. It's not new. It's happened to me already. I'm just happy I invest in this antidote.
Liam Goff breaks down the science behind drug detection and emphasizes that Jermaine Franklin cannot hide from the evidence. Even small amounts of banned substances stay detectable and cast a huge shadow over his integrity as a fighter heading into the bout.
I'm just chucking out there. If depending on the amount, that will depend on how long it remains in your system. So from what I can gather, if you've taken very limited amounts, very little amounts, it could stay in your system. Depending on the nature of the test, if it was a saliva test, if it was a urine test, if it was a hair test, it's going to stay in your system a lot longer.
Ade Oladipo admits the situation is shocking, but briefly considers accidental ingestion. Regardless, he calls it wild and unprecedented, underscoring how Jermaine Franklin's failed test is dominating headlines and leaving the boxing world in disbelief.
If it's somehow in his system from other means, I know that might sound crazy, but I guess we have to give him the benefit of the doubt, do we? I'd like to think we do. But yeah, this is wild. Honestly, this is wild.
Adam Smith reacts with cautious surprise to Jermaine Franklin failing the drug test and stresses the uncertainty around official statements. Social media is buzzing and the drama has already hit fans hard, leaving Franklin's credibility under intense scrutiny.
Surprise, and I'll wait and see what happens. I mean, I don't know the findings. We don't know. I haven't seen statements really. I don't know. It's come out in the social.
Dev Sahani reacts strongly to Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test and says it casts doubt over the fight's fairness. He emphasizes that Moses Itauma's hard work and training could now face an unfair challenge if Franklin relied on banned substances. The failed test affects Franklin's credibility, and fans are debating whether he deserves to step into the ring. Analysts suggest that Moses' preparation and resilience could expose Franklin's dishonesty, turning the fight into a test not only of skill but also of integrity. Public trust in Franklin is now at risk, making every round a statement against cheating.
Moses here, this is going to be a case of, let's see, 1, if we can get rounds. 2, can he do a better job than Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte did? Can he get rounds but also get him out of there? I guess that's That's kind of the question for Moses. But for me, this is the perfect bit of matchmaking. This is everything that fight fans have wanted. They want to see what happens when Moses Itauma goes a few rounds, has someone who's...
Carl Frampton strongly condemns Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test. He highlights that using performance-enhancing drugs in boxing is extremely dangerous and could risk lives. Franklin's actions now undermine trust in the sport and put his opponents, especially Moses Itauma, at an unfair disadvantage. Frampton calls for lifetime bans for such behavior. Fans and analysts are questioning Franklin's professionalism and whether he should even be allowed to compete. Moses' preparation contrasts sharply with Franklin's failed test, showing the difference between hard work and cheating. The reaction underscores the seriousness of Franklin's failure and its impact on his career and reputation.
Profile guys getting caught, and it's just horrible. Genuinely, and I know you were about saying, without going fucking fully mental here, I just believe if you're caught with any performance-enhancing drug, you should be banned.
Lawrence Oakley shares mixed feelings but points out that Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test may affect his ability to perform consistently. He highlights Moses Itauma's speed, explosiveness, and technical skill as a contrast to Franklin's compromised situation. Analysts now question whether Franklin can survive a full fight without relying on banned substances. Fans debate Franklin's legitimacy and fairness, while Moses' preparation is praised. Oakley stresses that a fighter with Franklin's dishonesty cannot maintain competitive integrity for all rounds, making the fight as much about exposing cheating as about skill. Franklin's reputation and future are at stake.
I'm 50-50. Personally, it depends on what style he brings. So it's like, I think if he's like measured, then yeah. But if he does what I think he might try and do, which is I'm gonna show this guy, get inside and work like clever shots, I don't think so. I think with someone like Moses, who is naturally so explosive and so quick and technical, he's got so many good attributes, but as we've seen with in any sport across any profession, that explosiveness, in my opinion, cannot happen for 12 rounds. It never happens.
Ade Oladipo says that the matchup now has extra tension because Jermaine Franklin failed the drug test. He points out that Moses Itauma might gain an advantage if Franklin is mentally or physically affected by this scandal. Analysts and fans are discussing whether Franklin can maintain his focus or if his credibility issues will tip the fight in Moses' favor. Ade also notes that Moses' skills and height advantage could be amplified given Franklin's compromised position. The commentary highlights how a failed test changes public perception, increases pressure on Franklin, and could impact every punch, round, and strategic decision.
Moses brings his own problems to Jermaine, but they're probably around the same height, maybe Moses a couple of inches taller. I like this matchup. Stylistically, I like this matchup as well. Like, Jermaine comes to fight, and that could sort of fall into Moses' hands.
George Cambosos delivers a harsh critique of Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test, labeling cheating as unacceptable in boxing. He emphasizes that tests are accurate and there is no excuse for using banned substances. Analysts and fans are outraged, condemning Franklin for risking his reputation and the safety of others in the ring. Moses Itauma's preparation and hard work are contrasted with Franklin's dishonesty, showing a clear moral and competitive gap. The commentary highlights how Franklin's failed test damages his credibility and standing in the sport while reinforcing public and expert expectations that cheaters should face strict consequences.
When a test goes through and it goes to VADA, it's going to VADA. It ain't going to get mixed up. So he's done this, and if he's cheated, he's a piece of shit.
Moses Itauma's statement highlights his relentless preparation and work ethic, which now contrasts sharply with Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test. While Moses is putting in consistent, exhausting 10-round sparring sessions, Franklin's reliance on banned substances undermines the fairness of the contest. Analysts point out that Franklin's actions not only endanger his own reputation, but also cast a shadow over the integrity of the fight. Fans are praising Moses for his discipline and questioning how Franklin can face such a prepared opponent legitimately. This failure could impact Franklin psychologically, making Moses' preparation even more valuable as a test of both skill and ethics in boxing.
I jumped in and this guy was trying to take my head off. These training camps are tough, even though the fights look easy to me, they don't look easy because Training camps are tough.
What's the plan for 2026, Moses? Do you do one?
Liam Goff emphasizes that the matchup was meant to test Moses Itauma's progression, but Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test now changes everything. Analysts and fans question whether Franklin's past performance was enhanced by banned substances, and whether his legitimacy can be trusted. Goff notes Franklin looked awkward against previous opponents, and now this failed test raises doubts about his skills and fitness. Moses' progression is highlighted as pure and disciplined, while Franklin's cheating casts a shadow over the fairness of the sport. Fans are debating whether Franklin can even provide a real challenge under these circumstances, making the fight a test of character as much as ability.
I think that Jermaine Franklin versus Moses Itauma is a really, really good fight for Itauma's progression. I think he's a solid opponent. I've got no issues whatsoever. It's on a very, very good card. No mention of pay-per-view as well, which is even better. But it's a solid opponent. Jermaine Franklin, when he fought Dillian Whyte, going into that fight, I kind of looked at him and thought, he looked awkward, but nothing special. He gave a good account of himself against Dillian Whyte. Some people actually felt that he did enough to win the fight. I wasn't one of them. I thought Dillian Whyte won the fight.
John Fury delivers a strong warning about Jermaine Franklin's actions, highlighting that using steroids is illegal and unsafe. Franklin's failed drug test not only damages his credibility, but also sets a poor example for young fighters and fans worldwide. Analysts stress that his decision to cheat could have physical consequences for opponents like Moses Itauma, who are preparing fairly and risking injury in every round. Fury expresses sympathy for Franklin as a person but condemns the act, suggesting that even talented fighters cannot justify cheating. Public outrage is high, and the failed test has transformed the narrative of the fight from a pure competition into a cautionary tale about ethics and safety in boxing.
And enlighten people in the world today that it is illegal to use his steroids, and that's what he's doing to gain an edge. Well, I feel sorry for him.
Ade Oladipo stresses that Moses Itauma's development should be gradual and strategic, and now Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test complicates this plan. Franklin, previously considered a top 30 opponent, has now undermined the integrity of the matchup. Analysts and fans are debating whether the fight still serves as a proper test for Moses or if Franklin's dishonesty skews the evaluation. Moses' preparation, discipline, and pure training now contrast sharply with Franklin's actions, emphasizing the unfair advantage Franklin tried to gain. Public opinion is largely against Franklin, and the fight has become as much about ethics and credibility as it is about boxing performance.
I honestly thought this is the perfect opponent for Moses' development. You can't rush Moses. I know everyone wants to see him in there with killers. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I think he's ready. But the fact is, you do have to take your time with Moses. And I think someone like a Jermaine Franklin, who is a top 30 guy, top 30 guy, who again, we've seen him with AJ and Dillian Whyte, so we can compare Moses' performance against him and compare it.
Frank Warren originally promoted the fight as a brilliant matchup, but Jermaine Franklin's failed drug test changes the entire narrative. Analysts note that while the fight was meant to challenge Moses Itauma and gauge his development, Franklin's dishonesty now taints the competition. Moses' skills and preparation are highlighted as exemplary, contrasting with Franklin's reliance on banned substances. Fans are shocked and disappointed, questioning Franklin's credibility and whether the fight can be considered a fair test. Warren's promotion now inadvertently underscores the gravity of Franklin's actions, showing how a single failed test can overshadow months of planning and training in professional boxing.
In the meantime, I think we put together a brilliant fight with Jermaine Franklin, the American. It's going to be a good fight. I think, with Moses and him, I think it's going to be a good fight, and I think it's a good test for Moses.
The fallout from Jermaine Franklin failing his drug test has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Fans are furious and experts are unanimous in condemning his actions as unfair and dangerous. Moses Itauma has prepared tirelessly with discipline and focus, while Franklin relied on banned substances, which puts the integrity of the fight into question. Analysts highlight that Franklin's failed test not only damages his reputation, but also risks the safety of his opponents and the credibility of the sport. Every round he steps into now is overshadowed by doubt and public scrutiny. This is a pivotal moment for Moses to showcase his pure skill and training against an opponent who has undermined the rules and ethics of boxing. Fans are eagerly watching to see Moses rise above the controversy and prove himself as a legitimate contender. If you want to witness every moment of this explosive showdown, subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss any of the action.